Some people take chances and grow. You avoid risk and wonder why nothing ever changes. The difference isn't courage. It's that they know something about loss. You don't. You think you're being smart and careful. You're protecting what you have, not making reckless moves. But watch what happens. A job opportunity comes up. It's better pay, but less secure. You run the calculation. If you stay, you know what you get. If you go, you might fail. The possibility of losing feels bigger than the possibility of gaining. So you stay. 6 months later, you're still in the same place, wishing you'd taken the chance. This isn't about one decision. This is a pattern. Every time you choose the sure thing over the possibility. Every time you protect against loss instead of moving toward gain. You've been thinking this makes you responsible and mature. It's actually making you stuck. And the worst part is, you keep telling yourself you'll take risks when the timing is better. But the timing never gets better because risk always feels like loss. This is called risk aversion. The tendency to prefer avoiding losses over acquiring equivalent gains. Research shows people feel losses about twice as intensely as gains of the same size. Your brain doesn't weigh options equally. It weights potential losses heavier than potential gains. Losing $100 hurts more than winning $100 feels good. This evolved because in survival situations, loss was deadly. Losing your food meant starving. Losing your shelter meant freezing. So your brain developed a system that screams protect what you have. The problem is, you're not surviving anymore. You're trying to build something, and building requires risk. But your brain is still treating every uncertain outcome like a threat to your survival. Your brain thinks it's keeping you safe. It's actually keeping you small. Watch how this plays out when you're choosing between options. You're considering starting a side project. The potential upside is significant. New skills, possible income, growth. But it means giving up your evenings. That's certain loss of free time. The gain is hypothetical. The loss is guaranteed. Your brain does the math. Guaranteed loss feels worse than potential gain feels good. You don't start, or someone offers you feedback on your work. Taking it seriously might reveal flaws. That feels like loss of competence. Ignoring it preserves your current self-image. Your brain picks preservation. You miss the chance to improve because improvement requires admitting current gaps. And here's what nobody tells you about this. The more you have, the more you protect. You build up a career. Now you have something to lose. So you take fewer risks. You establish a routine. Now disruption feels dangerous. Every gain you make becomes something your brain wants to defend instead of leverage. You're not getting more conservative because you're getting wiser. You're getting more conservative because you have more to protect. And protection mode is the opposite of growth mode. You avoid risk to prevent loss. This keeps you in your comfort zone, which means you don't develop new capabilities, which makes future risks feel even scarier because you haven't built confidence, which makes you avoid risk more, which keeps you stuck. You're not just making one safe choice. You're rebuilding a life where safety is the highest value, and growth becomes impossible because growth requires uncertainty. I watched someone spiral through this exact pattern last week. Most people think this is about being cautious, so they frame it as being smart and strategic. They say they're waiting for the right opportunity, but that's like saying you're waiting for the risk to not feel risky. The real issue isn't that you're being careful. It's that your brain is systematically overweighting potential losses and underweighting potential gains. You're not making rational calculations. You're making emotional calculations that are biased toward keeping everything exactly as it is. This bias survives because society rewards stability. You get praised for keeping your job. You don't get praised for the opportunities you turn down. Plus, admitting you're risk-averse feels like admitting you're afraid. That threatens your identity as someone who's in control. And if you started taking risks, you might fail. And failure would prove your risk aversion was justified. Your brain would rather stay safe and stagnant than risk being wrong about needing to stay safe. And that's exactly why most advice about this fails. People who take productive risks don't feel less fear. They weigh the cost of inaction. You focus on what you might lose if you try. They focus on what you definitely lose if you don't. You ask what happens if this fails. They ask, what happens if I never try? The difference isn't bravery. It's recognizing that staying still has a cost too. You think staying put is neutral. Eat this? Not. Every day you don't take the risk is a day you don't get the growth. That compounds. You're not avoiding loss. You're choosing a different kind of loss. The slow, invisible loss of potential. So the next time an opportunity shows up and your brain immediately starts listing everything that could go wrong, you'll know what's really happening. Your brain is weighing potential loss at double the value of potential gain. It's running a calculation that's designed to keep you exactly where you are. The risk isn't actually as dangerous as it feels. The feeling is just your brain doing what it evolved to do. Now you can catch it. You can feel the fear of loss rising and ask, what's the cost of staying the same? What do I lose by not trying? You're not trying to ignore risk. You're just correcting for a brain that treats all uncertainty like survival threat when it is usually just possibility. You started this video thinking playing it safe was protecting you. Now you know it's been protecting you from the exact growth you're trying to achieve. That's not a small shift. That's realizing safety and stagnation are the same thing. You now know something most people will never figure out. What you do with that knowledge is up to you. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one.